a wonderful day to be alive today, isn't it?
Yes.
Hey everybody, I'm Teresa.
And I'm Bonnie.
And I am a spiritual enthusiast and your host of today's podcast that we're calling A Healthy Heart. Tell me a little bit about what we're going to jump into today.
Well, astrology is my specialty. So we're going to start with the astro weather, what's going on right now.
Okay, cool.
And then we're going to lead into a little topic talk. Do you want to tell them what the topic is?
I would love for you to tell us what the topic is.
So the topic today was inspired by my partner, John, and he said, hey, stay in your own lane. And I thought that was a worthy topic.
For sure.
And when we're looking at the astro weather for this week, it shows that a lot of stress is building up.
Really?
Do you want to jump right in, or you want to?
Yeah, I do want to jump right in. So what is the universe saying today?
Well, today. So talking about patterns, we call the astrology weather the astrology weather. It's what's going on right now.
Okay.
So with that saying, it is happy new moon now, right before noon, so in like an hour.
Okay.
It's going to be the new moon.
Standard Eastern time.
Exact.
Okay.
Yes.
This is what we're on.
From Florida.
Okay.
And this is what the chart looks like. I know you guys can't see it because it's turned around, but you can see all of this concentration up here in Taurus. So, and then you can, if you are also looking, you can see how there's boom and boom, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you see the big square.
So this is what you're talking about. All of this concentration in Taurus is also what you're talking about when there's this build of energy.
Yes.
And it can feel stressful for
people. And the good news, I think, is that the only things really happening is just our own personal anxiety.
Yeah.
Something that needs to come to a head, something needs to change. And the stress is because you don't want to. You don't want to make the change that is smacking you in the face.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's not that there's anything big or bad specifically going to happen outside of us. Okay. This is all an internal thing. This is purely stress and anxiety, and which brings, leads us into the topic. But before we lead into the topic, I want to say that this is just temporary, that there's good stuff coming. That doesn't mean ignore it. You know what I mean?
Until it's gone.
Right. Because that would be what you're doing, is avoiding. Yes. Right. But so make the changes that you need to make. Take the stressors and go, I see you. Okay, here's what I need to do to make this better, less, whatever. Okay. And that's what we're going to talk about, how we handle our stress today. But the good news is it's not going to last. There's really good stuff coming. So Mars is moving into Leo, which is a little bit more fiery and fun and summery. Our energy and our motivation will be lit up a little bit more. And then the sun moves into social Gemini. And some of the pressure and heaviness of Taurus and that fixed energy will alleviate.
Okay, that's really awesome to know. So, I had a question.
Oh, good.
Okay, so with the energy accumulating in Taurus, can you, real quick, before we go into the therapeutic modes of staying in our lane and what that means, before we go into that, can you just give me a little bit of information about this collective energy in Taurus, what that means, and also in conjunction with the cross?
Okay. So I guess, do you want the technical details, or do you want what I think it means? Bottom line.
If you could summarize the technical details, for our listeners, because
and
I
then
believe
I'll sum it up.
I believe a lot of people are seekers. They're on a quest to understand this information a little more.
A grand cross is when 4 planets are all square to each other, usually in the same element or mode. They're all fixed. Okay, so Taurus, Aquarius, Scorpio, and Leo. We have all 4 planets coming together to make this grand cross.
When you said planets,
Yes.
You meant constellations?
No, I meant planets in those signs. The planets are in those. I guess I did mean in the sign.
Gotcha.
Yes, because it's the fixed signs, but the planets are in them. So the concentration of Taurus just means that everything is lined up there right now. Uranus has been living in Taurus for a while and has a while back, and he's the king right now in Taurus, anyways.
Oh, well, okay.
That explains a lot. Right?
Yeah, that's why I was asking you what the heck is going on, because specifically Taurus, it also home life, family life, right? And Uranus being responsible for a lot of the unexpected.
It is the not fun part.
The unexpected.
Sometimes it's the fun, but the unexpected.
It's not fun if you're not willing to be flexible. And sometimes it's not fun in the sense that it's disastrous. Like your battery doesn't start in your car. That happened to Anne the other day, or maybe there's just a lot of, like, my chickens got out, and
that would be sort of
right. It was like the start of the day was the dog pouncing on the chickens, right? And that's Uranus and Taurus, right?
Sounds like a chicken,
the farmland, and the chaos.
Absolutely,
right. And so I think that it is, if we're trying to recognize where we are incapable of moving with the flow. Going with the flow. Where is that part in me? And that's why Uranus is testing that fixed nature of ours, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely. But now here's why it's such a big concentration. Uranus is already there. North Node is already there, but North Node will be moving soon. But Jupiter just came in, and the moon came in. So we have this huge concentration. We have Jupiter, North Node, Mercury, Vesta, Uranus, Sun, and Moon, all in Taurus for right now.
So depending on where Taurus is at in your chart, right? Yes. And that gets a little bit deeper. And so for those kind of questions, also, if you're looking at going into those deeper, that's what Bonnie is available for. And I will make sure that I'll make sure that you have that information to get in touch with Bonnie to get your own personal reading. So check out the information section of this video later. But collectively speaking, right, Taurus represents nature. Oh! Yes. I'm so proud of me.
Yes. You actually learned quite a bit. I'm very happy.
Represents nature and the senses.
Yes. And physicality.
And the body.
Taurus is a little heavier, and we're a little more feet on the ground kind of energy, for sure. It's Venus, so its messages are the same, but it's a little thicker and more attached to the earth. And this is what I think is the bottom line of all of this stress going on and all of this concentration. It's partly the fixedness, right? Be willing to move with the flow, and don't be so afraid to change or to be uncomfortable for a minute. Taurus energy does not like being uncomfortable, okay? But the bottom line is to choose your values. So if you are saying, my children and my family is the most important thing to me, and that is my biggest value, but the way you are acting and the way your life is living does not show that, because you are putting work first and your obligations to other people and your this, that, and 15 other things. So this Taurus energy is really sticking it to you. Say what you mean and mean what you say.
Oh, I like that.
And
I like that. How does that tie in? Because I know it does.
To the stay in your own lane.
Yes, exactly.
Because we tend to, especially when things are stressful or we don't want to change, it's the resistance to wanting to change ourselves that helps us judge everybody else. Or if only I had more money. If only my kids would clean up their room. If only, little things, but they can be bigger things too. If only everybody else would cooperate with me or would do what I want them to do, then my life would be better. Yeah. But that's not true. And again, the bottom line is that we have to put our values first, our real values.
And you know what? That, just like you and I, when we were sitting down to do our little our short bio to introduce ourselves, when you're put on the spot when you're asked,
it's hard to come up with it.
What's your mission statement? Those are your values.
Yes,
what
absolutely.
Is your personal mission statement? And you know what? If you don't have one and you don't know, and this podcast is kind of stirring that up, like, oh gosh, maybe I don't know. Maybe that's why I am feeling all this stress, because underneath it, I am conflicted in the sense that what I really want and what I'm really doing are two different things.
Yes.
And actually, my program that I'm coming out with soon is really clarifying your personal mission statement and developing the skills that you need to begin to manifest the life that you genuinely want.
And that's a big issue, I think, for a lot of people, that they don't even really know what they truly want. And they say that this is what they want, but then they do something different. And
distracted.
Easily distracted, because everybody else is counting on us one way or the other. Work this, work that, whatever. And sometimes family.
You know what? Let me just say, yesterday, to that point is I'm very much, matter of fact, you can see I have a whiteboard over there, and it says I prioritize. What does it say?
I didn't read it today. You better tell me.
It's been up there for a while. It says my priority is my marriage, my family, and then it goes on. But, I write those notes to myself because the distractions come in. And so when I prioritize, number one, my relationship with my husband, then I think out of that place, just for the sake of our family nucleus, out of that place, we're able to flourish in our harmony as parents. We don't agree on everything, but
to be a team about it. Yeah.
We work to develop harmony in a constantly changing environment, because children, as they grow, right, they're constantly changing too. And
yours are teenagers.
And now they're teenagers. It was yesterday that they were 3 and 4, and and that we were changing diapers. And so,
oh my goodness,
just the other day on Wednesday, my middle daughter had an 8th grade graduation, and
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And I had plans on going to the graduation, and then she was going to come home for the day. And next thing you know, it's, there's a birthday party. There's that. And there were so many things that came up that I did not have on my radar. And it was like, I was just spinning. But remembering and reminding myself that even though it feels chaotic, even though my plans are all jacked up, but I'm so grateful that they're jacked up because I'm running around with my kids, or
that you can do that. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I forget this because it'll go, and then I'll watch the video later, and I'm like, I never finished my point. My point was, yesterday I really felt this collective this accumulation. Yeah, I really felt this accumulation yesterday, and I thought I was borderline going crazy. And I was in the kitchen cooking. And I swear, by the time Joe got home, I was like, this is a 5-hour meal. It's beans and rice, man. Like, I don't understand why it's taking this long to make beans and rice. But do you know how many times I had to stop because something.
Oh, my goodness, when that happens.
And so at one point, I'm walking around and I'm getting frustrated. And I'm realizing, like, I'm frustrated because this kid didn't do what they said they were going to do. This kid didn't do.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, I'm remembering what my husband pissed me off over the weekend. Right. And then I paused.
Pausing is a great strategy.
I paused and I said, and I looked around at all the stuff and I said, but this stuff, right, it represents life that is being lived in this home. It represents the experience that we're having together. And even though sometimes it's chaotic and it hurts and it's messy, I have to stop and remind myself that is a part of the experience, and I'm grateful. And
it's your first priority. It's your real value. That family with all of the mess is your top priority.
Yeah.
And right now it's messy and chaotic, and because you have teenagers, you know.
And I got to roll with it.
Hey, in 10 or 15 years, you can sort of retire and live the empty nest life too, and be so grateful that you had this time with your kids. And I was going to do that too. What you were saying about when you got stressed, you automatically started to see how everybody else was at fault or the reason for your stress.
Right. It's all out here.
Yes.
It's all this.
It's all external. Mm-hmm. And it's all little shit too, usually. It's just our internal stress. And that does lead us into our topic about staying in your own lane. Do because most of the time I think we're doing it out of an avoidance.
Yeah.
We're looking at everybody else to avoid working on ourselves. And sometimes it's just about, and you might say, well, but I only mean well for them. And,
right.
And that might be very well true. And this is something I have to work with because this is sort of my job. And I am quite good at figuring people out. And I see potentials, but I still have to stay in my lane, even though, it's very easy for me to solve all the problems of my partner or my friend or my daughter or my work colleague. I can solve all their problems. Let me see a chart. I'll fix it for you.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work like that. So I'm, on a whole different level, but still the same. Stay in your own lane. Stay in your own lane. What part am I accountable for?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I was going to ask you. So
yeah.
when you're using this phrase, stay in your own lane, in this context, what I hear you saying, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I'm sure you're right.
More or less, how can I take responsibility for the way I am showing up in this moment
and handling whatever is going on.
Whatever it is. And obviously everybody is feeling this accumulation of energy in some way, shape, or form.
Oh yeah. And the last few days, and I think we're going to feel it for another day or two, and then it'll ease off. I think after the sun moves into Gemini, I think we'll have a little bit lighter energy.
Okay.
But the message is still there about facing your own stress and your own strategies to deal with the stress, to stay in your own lane, yeah. and pick your values. Live your life according to your values. That is the overwhelming message of Taurus. Integrity and love from the inside, self-worth. Oh, and in that same vein, your nice little note up here about what your priorities are. Why aren't you at the top of the list? Your marriage and your kids and your family and your commitments to whatever your mission is. All of those things are fantastically great to put on your priority list, but you're not on it.
I didn't even put myself up
You're
there.
Not on it. You're not at the bottom or the top.
You know what is crazy about that is that I perceive myself as one who indulges in taking care of myself.
You are. You're very Aries, aren't you?
And at the same time, when I sit with practitioners, a good friend of mine is a hypnotherapist that I got to see a couple weeks ago. And I sat in the session and he pulled out the same thing.
That you're not in there.
That when it came to everyone else being safe as a concern of mine. Remember we talked about, we actually led into with your meditation first, I think it was that week.
The forest one.
And we real quickly did this little, example. And what came up for me when you did that was that my instantaneous feeling when the forest went from being bright and friendly to dark and uncertain, right? My first awareness was that I felt unprepared, unsafe. I didn't have anything in my person to protect me.
Because you had spent all of your energy, time, and tools on protecting everybody
And that's
else.
where my friend, when we sat down,
he
brings it out. He's going, and so you're right, and that just brings another good point home. And I think that's really cool because what we're going to get into in a minute is the muscle testing.
Right.
And so the muscle testing that you're going to show us, I'll have you tell us a little bit about.
Yes.
Getting into those subconscious. Just you go ahead and tell me more about how that's going to help us understand our own lane.
Well, muscle testing is used by a lot of different modalities and programs. It's just, to me anyways, I can only see my little part of the picture. To me, it's a good way to talk to your subconscious.
Okay.
So I've seen it used in multiple different ways. In theta healing, the way I'm trained, we use it to test our own belief. And they have a couple of different ones, but I feel like the most accurate one is the standing one.
Okay.
And that's why we're going to have to do a different segment with the recording, right?
Yes.
Close your eyes. Practice a couple times. Say it out loud. Program yourself for yes, program yourself for no. Make the statement true or false do a couple practice ones. We don't, we say our questions like a statement. You're going to program yourself forward for yes and backward for no.
Okay.
So like we try to find another way to say it to not use not or to not use no.
I can do that.
Okay. So with muscle testing, you're going to program yourself forward for yes and backward for no. So you're just calibrating yourself. Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. So this, okay. No, that's a good one when it actually pulls you. Okay. So now you make your questions like a statement, and it works better if you say them out loud. So tell.
I know my self-worth. I know my self-worth.
You're doing pretty good.
I know my self-worth.
You might need a more specific question. You went a little forward and a little back.
I know my value. I know the value that I add to my home.
Yeah, man.
I know the value that I add to my home.
Do you know the value that you add to your community?
I know the value that I add to my community.
I know the value that I add to my own life.
I know the value that I add to my own life.
Those are great Taurus questions.
I add to my own life. I know the value that I add to my own life. Girl needs some self-love, huh?
Girl needs some self-love. We'll just prioritizing yourself.
Prioritize
You are
myself.
such a good mama bear that you just have naturally done that. And
I prioritize self-love.
I prioritize self-love.
I prioritize self-love. Yes.
I help people by staying in my own lane. Yes.
I help people by staying in my own lane.
Good job. I help people.
I don't stay in my own lane.
I see you coming forward and back. Like, which one are you?
But it was back.
I want to say yes, but.
How about this? I got the next one. I overthink. I'm an overthinker.
I'm an overthinker. Overthinker Anonymous.
I overthink my role as a mother.
Perhaps that's where the staying in your own lane comes from for you. I mean, it's a whole lot of love. We love our kids.
Right. I overthink my role in the home. I overthink my role in the home. I have contempt with my home. I'll have to work on that some more. Let's get back to the video and you can talk a little bit more to us about how to use this method to get in our own lane.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about the uses of muscle testing.
Okay. So we used it to test if something is good or not good for you. And you used it about priorities and values, which is important for our topic today. But you can use this in so many other ways. You can hold up a product and say, is this good for me? But say it like a statement and say it out loud. This is good for me. And if you get a negative response, then you know it's not true. So that's very powerful. You can also use it for, like you did, to find like beliefs that are in there and affecting us in a subconscious way, whether we realize it or not. So it's bringing the subconscious up to the surface for us, or letting us communicate somehow. That's, I think, the power of it.
Very neat.
So, we discovered that you had a negative response to I value myself, or I prioritize myself. And that confirms, we already talked about, you're not on the top of your own priority list. So, and that happens with a lot of great people. And any sort of lesser of a woman, it happens to even harder sometimes. You know, you still have missions and jobs and go try to accomplish great things. And a lot of women completely lose that when they are prioritizing their family.
Yeah.
So here you come to your 40s.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, I just dedicated most of my life and all of my energy and then some to creating and building this great family. And now who am I? So there you are. And now we got to work on that because you want you to be strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Theta Healing, I would give you a download. But do you want to dig a little bit more? I think it's pretty much like a neon sign. I don't think we need to dig on that one. I think it's right.
Yeah, I think for me, it would be to bring this into my meditation. It's in my awareness. I absolutely would have thought that, you know, I'm one to make my massages regularly. I meditate daily.
You do more for yourself than a lot.
I really do. I have really a lot of rituals. So this isn't about the external.
No.
It's really about the, the underlying
value of yourself, your own self-worth.
Yeah, the blind spots. So I think, gosh, if we were to look, though, at where that meter was 10 years ago, I guess I would just say...
fully immersed in toddlerness.
Well, yeah, and my self-worth, I didn't have any self-worth.
So you've come really far.
Right, and so I would say just stay in my lane and stay on the path.
With Theta Healing, we'd give you a download. And that's a nice, easy way. But you're still going to have to keep doing the work. Yeah. Okay. So here's the download. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So would you like to know what it feels like, what God's definition of your value is?
Of course.
There you go. So you get to know what Creator, God, universe, your own self, what they think about you, what they feel about you, and how much value they place on you. Would you like to value yourself as much as your kids and your husband and everybody else that loves you? How they see you?
I am valuing myself.
You are valuing yourself, and you got the statement part right. There we go. All right. So in Theta Healing, we try to take the negative beliefs and get rid of them. I see them leave out of the left side. And I used to see like a target gun or water gun. And I'd shoot them down, all those negative beliefs about not being on the top of your own list. You let that out, let those all go, and you bring in the positive ones. So you see the positive thoughts coming back in. I am valuable. I am love. I am divine. I am part of the plan. I am valuable. Okay.
Thank you, Bonnie.
All right.
Thank you. I am valuable and you are valuable. And the reason that we are coming together and sharing this information with you and sharing our hearts with you, as this podcast is titled A Healthy Heart and Soul, if we are coming from a place of having a healthy heart and a healthy soul, then we can hold space for those that are still reaching for the light and reaching for that healing. And so I just want to thank everybody for being with Bonnie and I today, and we will update you on future content. Is there anything you wanted to add to closing?
Probably, but I'm not thinking of it right now. So I think we're good. We had a really good talk and learned a new exercise.
Yeah, awesome. So everybody, thank you so much for listening and watching. And until next time, signing out.